Yeah, the Chazal say, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Ezel Chochom Alomed Mikol Adam. Chochmah is that you can learn from everybody. Not just from everybody. Everything you see in the world, every experience you have, you can learn something from it. Our talks over here, I called it a few months ago, I gave it a name, Sichas Chulin Shel Talmidei Chachomim. I don't want to give drushes and lectures, and I don't want to be like the producer of ours, Yoshua Meir, that he wants me to spread what they call kanos. So I'm not interested in all that. I want to give Sichas Chulin Shel Talmidei Chachomim. And I have a feeling that there are people out there that have a toelis from it. In fact, a few weeks ago on Friday, I met somebody in the street in Arnov, and he told me that he enjoys my talks and he listens to them. And he said about the kanos, about the anti-Zionism, he said nobody cares, it's not in, nobody cares, but nobody's interested. Anyway, I wanted to tell a small story, mamish a small story, but I want to learn something from it. Why do I call it a small story? Because it has to do with a child. And the story is like this. I go once a week to my son's house, to my grandchildren. Actually, I picked them up from Cheder. 2 boys, I picked them up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. I take them home, and I stay with them for around 2 or 3 hours until the parents come home. And that's been my Seder for maybe 2 years already. I've been doing this. And they enjoy it, and I enjoy it, and although it is draining and I go out tired from there, well, I very much enjoy it. And every week I do different things with them. Or I don't do anything with them, we just sit there. By the way, what I want to say is these grandchildren, one is 8 years old, and one is 5 years old. 2 boys. And I wanted to say something that I say to them sometimes. Let's sit and talk. Bonedaber, I say to them sometimes. Like, I want them to know that you don't always have to play games. We could sit down and talk. That's for grown-ups, enjoy sitting down and talking. Of course, there's some people that they're not stimulating and you don't enjoy talking to them. You just have to be nice to them. That's called being nice to them, but not talking to them. But what I want to say is let's have a stimulating talk. And sometimes it does come out. They're intelligent children, and it comes out as stimulating talk. And I just talk about anything. And then they ask good questions, and sometimes it comes out interesting for them and for me. Now, there was a few weeks ago, I was sitting with the younger son, the 5 years old. His name is Yehona's son, Kaplan, my son's son. And he asked me to play checkers with him. The older boy was reading a book, so I wasn't doing anything with him. And the little one asked me to play checkers, so we played checkers. So in checkers, just like in chess, you can take off one another. In checkers, you jump over to one and you take him off. So when we started the game, and the first time I took him off, he started crying and screaming, "Don't take me off, don't take me off." So I said, "But that's the game. How can we play the game without taking off?" In that case, I went back. Then we kept on playing. So again, I tried to take him off. He screams, "Don't take me off, don't take me off." I said, "But how are we going to play the game if I can't take you off?" He didn't understand what I'm saying. He's only 5 years old. So I said, "You know what? What do I get? What does it have to play exactly like the rules? I said, you know what? Let's make a new rule that you're allowed to take me off, and I'm not allowed to take you off. Okay, I don't know if he understood that, what you mean, a rule, but maybe it could be he did understand. And sometimes children understand much more than what we think they understand, and I've seen it. Okay, so he kept playing until his mind started wandering, which is an interesting thing in itself. And he was born, his birthday is Zion Tammuz, and this coming Zion Tammuz, he's going to be 5 years old. So, was it Zion? No, it was Yud Tammuz. 5 years ago, Yud Tammuz. So we played until his mind started wandering, and he started talking about something else, and we dropped the whole thing. And I was thinking, look at that. It's only a game. It's not a serious thing. What do you care that if I'll take you off or I won't take you off? What's the difference? And yet, the child takes it so seriously that he thinks the game is real. The game is real to him. And if I take him off, I'm taking him off. I'm doing something to him. I'm making him, I'm erasing him in some way. And he started crying because of that. And I said, you think it's childish and it's stupid what he's doing. Can't you understand it's only a game? But we have to know that we are also that way. The whole life is one big game. Hashem is playing a game with us, and we don't understand it, and we take it so seriously. One time, my son-in-law, Naftali is his name.
Well, Rabbi Kaplan, you mean we shouldn't take it seriously?
What?
Are you saying we shouldn't take it seriously?
Can you be patient and wait till I get to the point?
Oh, okay.
I go slowly. My derech is to go slowly. I didn't say, you mean, you thought I'm saying we shouldn't take life seriously. No. Soon. Wait. My son-in-law told me that he had to go with his grandfather to talk to a lawyer a few months ago. It was about money, not about Kedusha, in Binyan Azrieli in Tel Aviv. And he was describing to me how you see there must be a lot of offices of lawyers over there. And he was describing how they go well-dressed and with ties, and they're holding suitcases and briefcases, and they're walking with a big chashivas. Man, it's all very serious over there. Man, she can think this, and like he was sort of laughing at it, and I also laughed at it. What I mean to say is, the Rambam in the Hakadomah of Seder's Rambam, the famous Rambam, I'm holding it open in front of me right now. The Rambam talks about somebody, and the Rambam calls him a shigon, he calls it. The Rambam uses the word shigon. He says, a person crosses Yamim in the wintertime, and he goes in Midborios in the summertime, in the hot sun. And he puts himself in danger. Why? Kedei sheyaviach dinrim. It's very interesting. It sounds like the Rambam is being sarcastic over here. Like he should have said, Kadesh Yaviach Mammon, the Rambam should have said. To make money, we understand, that's our language, to make money. Instead, the Rambam says, Kadesh Yaviach Dinrim, like, it's like saying, he has to make a certain round pieces, round buttons, or like we were saying, checkers, these round things that they call them dinrim. He has to gather together a lot of these things. That's how You get the feeling of how he's being sarcastic towards these people, which is the most of the world. And he says, and then what is he? He's Moser Nefesh to go travel to be Marviach Dinrim. And then he says, and he sold his Koach HaNefesh. And what does he do with all this? He builds buildings. And he knows himself that he's not going to live that long, that he's going to enjoy the building. How long? Hayesh shtus v'shigon kozeh, the Rambam says. Is there anything that could be more foolish than this? And the Rambam goes on further to say, and he builds a beautiful palace, and he plants a choshuva vineyard, and he says, and what's the whole purpose of it? It's a famous Rambam, but when you look at it inside, you can you appreciate it much more. The Rambam says this whole thing is all that should be ready for a ish chosid, that in the Achris Hayomim he's going to come and he's going to rest in the shade of one of the walls of this building. And this might save him from death, the Rambam says. Or, says the Rambam, this tzaddik will take a cup of wine from that vineyard and he'll make a medicine from it. V'yi lases mimenu tzori anikra tri'ake. V'yimolit bo min ha'mo v'zishtomim v'sholem asher noscho ho'ef. That a snake bit him and he can make a medicine out of the wine from this vineyard. All to help that person. That means that is called Hashem. I would call that Hashem is playing a game with us. You see this chashuva person walking around with big chashivas, holding his head up, wearing a tie, and going with clean clothes. And he's taking it very seriously that he's building this building and how much it's going to cost and how much he's going to pay the kablan. And then he goes to a lawyer and he gets ready all the documents that you need to make the building chuki. You know, in this country they could tear down, if you're not an Arab, they're going to tear down your building if you don't have all the documents that you need. Arabs are a different thing. They're allowed to do everything. And finally the building is built and he feels so good about himself and he built this beautiful palace. And what's in there? And Hashem laughs at him. Hashem says, you know what? Everything you did is really meaningless. It's all because someday somebody's going to sit there in the shade of, he was walking along, what Rambam says that he's going to sit there in the shade and it's going to save him from death. Maybe it means that he was dehydrated. And he sat there and he cooled himself off and it helped him, or I don't know, whatever. In modern times, I would give a mush, I would say it this way. They built this whole big building, this, what my son-in-law was describing, this Binyan Azrieli in Tel Aviv, and with all these choshev allures, walking with a big chashivas, looking very important. And the whole purpose of all this whole building, I never was there, but they say it's a very high building. And the purpose of the whole thing is that one day an Al Chayid is going to walk by and he's going to have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'm being very gas, but l'saber sa'ozen, to make the muscle very clear, I think it's all right. He's going to have to go to the bathroom. He's going to go into that building and relieve himself, and that's going to help him. The whole purpose of the whole building is that should happen someday. Then it says when you start thinking, so what is it called? Everything else is a game. Everything else is not serious. That answers your question that you asked before. Are you suggesting that life is not serious? No. Life is very serious. A person should, in his life, he should take everything seriously. But I'm talking about how Hashem looks at it. Although,
Rabbi Kaplan, we'll take a break now. Thank you.